This morning, young men, especially those between 18 and 24, are up against a lot, from trouble in school and finding work to dealing with mental health and figuring out where they fit in today's world. The pressure is real.
Yeah, that's exactly right. A new podcast called Lost Boys, along with an upcoming book, dives into why so many young men are struggling right now and what we can actually do to help them out. Here to talk more about this is our mental health expert, Dr. Cheryl Ziegler. Dr. Ziegler, good morning.
Good morning.
So what exactly is the central theme for this podcast and this book?
Yeah, I really just happened across it. Like, it just came upon me, and it was filled with such good information. So really, they're studying emerging adults, and particularly men. So about, it could go 18 to 30, but really 18 to 24 is some of the information they were talking about. And they're trying to understand, why are they failing so much? It's as compared to young women, they're very behind, but in many different categories, they're just not thriving. And we have known this. This is a trend we've been watching for a while. So this upcoming book and this podcast is really focused on the why.
What did it say the reasons are for this age group?
They talk about a couple of different things. One of them starts off with, probably something that makes us all pretty uncomfortable, but out of the top 100 sites online, about 10% of them are pornographic. So one of them has to do with, how are young men relating to women or relationships, the fantasy of them, the reality of them. And so one of the things they looked at was that between the ages of 18 to 24, only about 51% of men that responded to a large study said that they hadn't ever asked a person out on a date in person. That these are things that are they're just online, right? Or they're not happening. And if you think about that's just one part of it, but if you think about that one fact, all of the trickle-down effect that happens when you don't have that courage to look someone in the eye and ask them out and experience rejection or failure or that nervousness, it leads to some other factors that they were talking about, just the American family.
Yeah.
What's happening if you're not dating, you're probably not getting married, you're not having families, and we really do see this as a trend.
I'm curious when this started, when the podcast and the book says this dates back to. I mean, I'm sure it goes a while back, but I wondered this during the pandemic, because I've noticed post-pandemic, I'm in everybody's space. I say hello to everybody and smile at them, and they look at me like I'm weird, like it's weird to socialize like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know. I haven't gotten that deep, so I don't know when they are tracking this from. I think in terms of the fields of psychology, we've been tracking this. We've been tracking what's happening with boys since about the 80s, that I can recall, because we've been seeing the decline. So as we were seeing the decline in boys, and some people wonder if there's an effect, right? And we've seen the increase in girls because we put a lot of effort into them, right? And so some people have said, well, have we put more effort into raising stronger girls? You see them more in STEM, you see all those kinds of things. But I think both can be true. And I think that's part of at least my message, which is, that's great. We've seen a lot of rise in girls. We still have certain particular challenges there. But our boys are truly falling behind in many different metrics, and we want to address that.
What does the author and what do you suggest to combat these feelings and help out this age group for boys?
Well, one of the things is, as a society, we need to understand, what does masculinity mean?
Right.
All right. And what is their role now? So one of the things they looked at is that women are now, as they have as equal of an opportunity to be a breadwinner or, lead a household in that way. And so one of the things they're saying is that sort of maybe manhood is having an identity crisis. Who are they? What is their role? How do they provide? How are they a part of a caregiving family? And so I think as a society, one of the things we can do is start having open conversations, of course, and then also start defining, what does it mean to be, whether it's a boy, right now if you're listening, you just have a boy, a teen boy, a young man, and a man. Start talking about those things, because as a society, they may get mixed messages. So I think as parents, we can really help solidify that with them.
I have a million more questions that I'd love to ask you. We are out of time, unfortunately. For a reminder for everybody, what is the podcast in the book?
It's The Lost Boys, and it comes on May 1st, so it's not even out yet.
Okay.
Okay, very interesting. Dr. Ziegler, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.